Get into the city council meeting that will be starting here momentarily. So let me go ahead and get that going here. And I sent you the link. If you want to make your public comment, you can do so. Let me go ahead and just put the main link here in the chat for you. Hope everyone is doing okay. Had a chance to use the restroom, grab a snack, and buckle up. This is podcast number 3. I've been sitting in this chair since, wow, a little bit longer than I had hoped. So, but that's what it is. That's what we do. Let me see here. All right, we are launching the Zoom.
Recording in progress.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.
All right, thank you. So first slide. As many of you are aware, we have the community feedback survey, and the goal is to improve cable and broadband services in our city. And so this, we need more feedback. And we've extended the data collection, information collection to September 30th. You can see the website down below. And it's an online link where you can encourage our residents and neighbors to actually just to get in, offer some input. And we know this is going to help shape our future franchise agreements and contracts for years to come. It's a really, it's a really outstanding opportunity. So hopefully we can get some more feedback from our folks out in the community. Next slide, please. And you are well aware that the city of Bremerton is in partnership with DOD, and it's for the Joint Compatibility Transportation Plan. And so that work is ongoing. We are finalizing some alternatives, and we are ready to, pretty close to being ready to present to the public for comment early in October. So as you can see, and you can read this for yourself, a preferred alternative will be refined after hearing that feedback. And we expect final plan in November of 2023. So early 2023. And again, down there for information at the bottom, bremertonlaw.gov/JCTP, you can get some information about this study. Next slide, please. So the city wayfinding plan is another what I consider to be an exciting project to help get people to the wonderful destinations that we have in our city. And so that survey it's ongoing right now. We're looking for input. There's a lot involved with this. Which destinations will be selected, and the sign all the way up to the sign design. And so we expect completion early 2023 with the first phase implemented soon after. And the public survey is now open until September 2nd. So this is another, as you can see, this is another website where you can provide input. We need to hear from you. And the more feedback, the better. So again, exciting project underway. And that concludes my report tonight, Council. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Next, we have the consent agenda. But before we start with that, we will be pulling item 3E on request of Councilmember Mlk, and that will basically become item 5A under general business. And with that, I'll turn to the city clerk.
Thank you, President Goodnow. For approval on the consent agenda are the following items. A, claims and check register. 1, check numbers 399322 through 399508, and electronic fund transfers V35681 through V35783, and the grand total amount of $2,692,831.79. 2, regular payroll for pay period ending July 31st, 2022, in the amount of $986,853.32. 3, regular payroll for payouts for pay period ending July 31st, 2022, in the amount of $20,684.31. B, minutes of meeting August 3rd, 2022. C, minutes of study session August 10th, 2022. D, confirm appointment of Vanessa Sherto to Bremerton Kitsap Access Television, BCAT, Citizens Advisory Committee. And F, Public Works Agreement with Nova Contracting, Inc. for the Well 9 Site Development Project. This concludes the reading of the consent agenda.
Muted, Council President.
Thank you. Does any member of the public wish to comment on any one of these items? Seeing none, we will go to the, we'll call on Jane Rebelowski. There we go.
Hello, did you hear me?
We can hear you now.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got in a little bit late to the meeting. Can you tell me, are you pulling the item for the chip and slurry seal contract for
Yes.
general discussion?
We pulled that down to general business, so it'll be up shortly.
Okay, all right, I'll speak to that then. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right. Anybody else for public comment on any of these items? Seeing none, we will go to the council for a motion. Councilmember Coughlin.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
And Councilmember Mockler.
I second the motion.
All right. We have a second and a motion. I call for the question.
Okay. Councilmember Chamberlain,
Yes.
Councilmember Fry, I'm
Yes.
sorry.
Yes,
Cough.
I answered to either, Angela.
Coughlin,
Yes.
Mockler,
Yes.
Younger,
Yes.
good now.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously. Next, we have public recognition.
Okay. As noted on the agenda, public recognition provides an opportunity for attendees to address the council on any city-related item that is not already listed on tonight's agenda. Please raise your hand to be recognized. We only ask that you state your name for use in the record and limit your comments to 3 minutes or less. And a timer system will be used. I think we have a timer tonight so that everyone's treated fairly and equally. Okay, Jane Rebelowski.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Hello?
Yep.
Okay. I'm very concerned that we're going on such an extended period with no public toilets. With the downtown area, some solutions for low-cost solutions. We sent that into council over a year ago. Nothing's been moved on. We keep giving nonprofits money to do things, and it's the same nonprofits over and over, and I don't see the success with that. Also,
Is all right.
and there's
Rebelowski, I think you're cutting out.
no dumpster there. So I wish that we could move in a dumpster at all times in that area.
Mr. Rebelowski,
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you were kind of cutting out, and I thought it was my internet. So I was hoping. So we definitely heard some of it, but I think we kind of lost on kind of maybe your very specific asks or pieces at the end there that about the dumpster and maybe some portable toilets. Okay. We may have lost you, but I think we understand what you're asking for. Yeah, it looks like you've dropped out. So we'll move on. Next is Mary Lou Long.
Good evening, Council. I'm standing now and I'm inviting you to join me with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God with liberty and justice for all. The ideals I believe in are encompassed in the pledge. I believe we are one nation that has many voices. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm not coming garbled. Okay. The ideals I believe in are encompassed in this pledge. I believe we are one nation that has many voices, but we are not supposed to become a Tower of Babel. We are to be united in one cause, the causes of freedom, cause of justice for all. God bless this land with beauty and resources that we in the Northwest have in abundance and see every day. This morning, I had the opportunity to pledge my allegiance to the flag with all that it stands for at a Boy Scout breakfast fundraiser. The unity of spirit at this meeting was heartfelt and a wonderful feeling. And as for our country being under the hand of God, I think we have been blessed by our Creator. And it is only fitting and just to give him recognition and thanks. I do have a couple of questions. When are we going to be meeting in our beautiful Norm Dix Community Hall for public council meetings? And secondly, President Goodnow, can you tell me how many people are signed on to watch City Council tonight?
Well, this is not normally a Q&A, but I will let you know that there's 8 attendees, and we are mirroring the decisions of city staff and of the public health district on our return to council chambers. So
there's no date given? I know there are other councils, like Paulsbo City Council meets together in public. Other councils are meeting, and a lot of people are sending their kids back to school. I go to the grocery store, nobody's wearing a mask. I don't understand why you in particular are not allowing public meetings.
Okay. Are you done with your public?
I suppose I am. I guess I'm not going to get any comments back from you. You're word, so bye.
Thank you. No. Okay, I just want to establish that the public comment is not a discussion. It is not a Q&A. So I'm happy to provide answers. Does anybody off the top of their head remember the date that we've last used? I don't want to necessarily take time to look it up.
I believe it's in October.
Yeah, I think October 20th rings a bell for some reason. So, and again, if for folks who are listening, that was chosen based on what the city's doing. So even if we went to council chambers, if the city staff is working until October 20th, it's sort of hybrid or remotely, we kind of wanted to provide that. And then we're also following what the Kitsap Health District is doing. So we're going to go back and I will kind of reset the clock. Jane, if you'd like to speak again.
Yes, thank you. The final comments I had were there's no dumpster present on Martin Luther King Way. And so the homeless population has bagged up what they can. I don't understand why a dumpster isn't there constantly. And I would like to see move forward on some public toilets right away.
All right, thank you for that. So I will just reiterate that just at our last meeting, we were told that I think Public Works staff is regularly visiting the Martin Luther King area to pick up trash and things like that. Some of it depends on where we can place a dumpster, I would assume, and the cost of the dumpster and not having it be used for the wrong reasons and things like that. So, but I don't know if the mayor wants to add on that, but I think that is it for public comment.
Yeah, pretty much. You know, we had a dumpster. It started a dumping area, and it is and since it's a public, would be a public dumpster, it was used as that in that way, and it was overflowing too quickly, and so now we have dedicated staff patrolling downtown at least once a day and on call to pick up trash.
Okay, I've got, so, all right, I see a couple more hands popped up. So we had closed public recognition, but I'll reopen it, and we will go to one Cameron.
Good evening. Good evening, council. Good evening, mayor. How are you guys this evening? Hope you're doing well, staying cool. Just to give you an update, I want to give a shout out to the mayor for suggesting maybe a town hall. So we're going to go ahead and go forward with that in September 28th, which is on a Wednesday at 2 p.m. A lot of folks have signed on to come in and dialogue and have conversations centered around what's going on downtown at MLK. So we're just moving forward, and we're just happy to see that people are wanting to move forward. Just to give a little context on the dumpsters. The dumpster was, I believe, on private property in that Diamond parking lot, and it was being overfilled. I don't know if the folks from the city were going onto private property and dumping it as it was overfilled. But now that that dumpster is gone, that once a day isn't picking up all the trash that is there. And so I do understand that other folks in the community were driving by and filling up the dumpster, which is horrible because then that blame gets pushed on the folks that are experiencing homelessness down there, and that's not even them doing it. And so they do need to have a dumpster there. I think one of the solutions is to increase the frequency of dumping it. Maybe it needs to be dumped twice a week because clearly there's enough demand for that. And if there is a patrol that's going by, you've got the police department that's coming by. Maybe they try to keep an eye on that dumpster and try to catch folks that aren't using it, that aren't in that neighborhood, that are just trying to dump trash off. But I thank you for your comment, and I look forward to seeing you guys at the breakfast. Thank you.
Thank you. Next will be Jeff Campbell.
Thank you. Yeah, just a little more background on the dumpsters and down there. So the people who were crouching in the shade that was provided by the old rescue mission, they were given permission by the people who owned that property, which is the Pacific PCHS. After everybody spoke out last week, apparently somebody got a call from somebody who said, you need to get those people off that property. And so they were immediately asked to leave that property. And it's been a constant, what do they call it? Permanent no trespass area now. So anybody who steps in that little area of shade now gets arrested. So everybody's pushed now to the street. They're pushed now to the sidewalks. Then they venture up that little mountain up by the community center where there's a little shade on the hill. Police are circling regularly now to tell them, no, that's also private property. Get back off there and onto the sidewalk. Meanwhile, trash is building up because they're not allowed on the property where the trash cans now sit beautifully in this empty, completely nice empty parking lot. That's not my view of a good city, but maybe it's somebody's view. So with the trash, I think just put trash cans down there in the street for people. Why? I don't understand why you take away trash, because the rest of your citizens can't afford to dispose of their trash either. Why? How does say dump it with the people who have nothing, and they're obviously who we need to take the trash away from. How about you try supplying trash bags or something for the rest of the community? I don't know. It seems like that's a basic city function. Trash care is not being taken care of the city, and that's a whole nother why. Why is that trash care not being taken care of, Mayor? That seems like that is directly your responsibility. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next, we go to Mlk Area.
Good, just made it in time. So I do have a couple of questions, and I do understand this is not a question and answer session, but it's more to provoke thought. I would like to know how much of a budget surplus we had in 2021 for the city, and where I could easily find that information. I know the budget itself is available. It is relatively confusing, I think, to somebody that is not financially trained, and that is just my personal opinion. I would like to know who is the head of Bremerton's homelessness team or homelessness prevention team. In the coming years, do you think it would be possible as a city, a progressive city that we all love and we all want to see become more beautiful and more sustainable, is there a way to form a dedicated city department on homelessness prevention instead of trying to hide these citizens and brush them, out of the forefront? And then also something to consider is not only would doing something like that, I feel, help the city from a compassion standpoint, from a beautifying the city standpoint, but also from a budget standpoint. And for consideration, I would just like you to think about how much police time would be saved, how much salary in dollars would be saved if we had a dedicated department on homelessness prevention. How much of the police department's time is being used up taking care of these, let's be honest, BS calls that everybody's getting to get rid of these unhoused people off of their properties because they don't want that stigma there. So just for consideration, think about it from a bottom budget line, if nothing else, how much we could save by helping these unhomed people, truly helping them, not the illusion of helping, but truly helping them get the what they need, get their independence, get their mental issues stabilized. And I will leave it at that. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And with that, we will close public recognition. Up next is general business, and we'll turn to the city clerk.
Thank you. General business item 5A. Sorry. General business item 5A, Public Works Agreement with Intermountain Slurry Seal Inc. for the 2022 to 2024 unit price contract for the preservation of city streets by chip seal and or slurry seal project. It looks like we have with us Dave Carter, Director Tom Nucky on this item.
All right, Dave, I think you're going to take it away.
All right. Hey, good evening, Council. So yes, I have the Public Works Agreement with Intermountain Slurry Seal Inc. for the 2022 to 2024 unit price contract for the preservation of city streets by chip seal and or slurry seal. The city annually programs pavement preservation using chip seal and or slurry seal, and the bids work each year. However, for 2022, we have prepared a unit price contract that follows RCW 35.22.620. Using this approach, we'll award a 3-year contract that establishes the unit price of each of the materials to be incorporated into the work, and will execute annual task or work orders that define the roads to be preserved. The 2022 work is generally located in West Bremerton, as shown in the attached figure. The project was competitively bid, and 2 bids were received. Intermountain Slurry Seal Inc. was the lowest responsible bidder at $1,684,520.34 for the 3-year contract. This project is included in the Transportation Capital Projects Fund with a budget of $650,000. The scope of the first year of this contract has been discussed at length at both council study session and Public Works Committee. After considering a somewhat recent payment condition study and field verifying pavement conditions, engineering and public works staff identified several road segments that are appropriate for treatment at this time. By no means are these segments highest priority in the city, due to the fact that many segments are high priority and in need of treatment. Rather, these segments fit the budgeted amount and are in somewhat proximity of each other. Additionally, since the winning bid came in under our current budgeted amount, we may have an opportunity to add additional road segments to the 2022 scope. Moving forward, if this contract is approved, staff will continue to reference the pavement condition study along with field verification in the creation of the scope for future years of this contract. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Does any member of the public wish to comment on this item? Jane Rebolowski, I think, is interested. No? Ms. Rebolowski, if you're interested in speaking on this, thank you. All right, so let's go ahead and open and just go ahead and unmute.
Yes, hello. Thank you for letting me speak on this.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I recently retired in the past couple of years from a 30-year career of public works inspection, working for the city of Bellevue, city of Bremerton, and the city of Seattle. When I was working at the city of Seattle, one of my jobs was to identify pavement failures for the city of Seattle's chip seal and slurry seal programs. And it's very effective, even on roads that, per the pavement survey that was done in 2018, which I think is the most recent, called out as failed streets. Well, we're never ever going to have the money to rebuild them properly. So the only thing we can do is maintain them. So I'm very much in favor of this project. And honestly, I think council really needs to consider adding some FTEs to public works. So thereby all year long, they could be prepping some of the failed areas and doing spot pavement repairs, so that this money we're spending with the contractor could be better well spent, and we get much enhanced projects. I think both Dave and Tom Nucky were very available for me to talk with, and I really appreciate that. And I just hope that, I mean, we're not even doing 1/10 of what we should every year to maintain our streets. And it's not just about arterials or streets in popular neighborhoods. We have to start repairing them all, or else all you're going to have is gravel roads soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comment on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to the council for a motion. Council Vice President Chamberlain.
Just wondering if we have a recommended motion. Does Angela have some wording prepared for that?
Oh, it would be in the consent section.
Okay, sorry.
I can read it if you'd like me to.
Yeah.
Thank you. I apologize.
No problem. Move to approve the Public Works Agreement with Intermountain Slurry Seal Inc. for the 2022 through 2024 unit priced contract for the preservation of city streets by chip seal and or slurry seal project in the amount not to exceed $1,684,520.34, including sales tax, and authorize the mayor to finalize and execute the contract with substantially the same terms and conditions as presented.
So moved.
And do we have a second?
I'll second.
Oh,
thank you.
Okay, thanks.
And may I just go ahead and start here? Is that okay? I apologize. Anna isn't in. Anna's logged out. I needed to let you know that.
Yes,
okay.
I'm aware. We're doing what we can on this. Okay. Staff, can you send Anna the phone number to call in? I will say that, yeah. All right, it sounds, I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm trying to troubleshoot this as we're going. You know, the main concerns was how things are selected and the process that staff goes through. But I do just want to sort of remind council that we're here to vote on this contract, on this legal instrument that is going to reward this company their work, and that the selection of the streets was done probably a year ago, and then there was a PDF, and I'm not sorry, PDF, RFP, and it might have been a PDF, but it probably should have been. And anyways, so there's a long process. So yes, the selection criteria is interesting. I feel that with some more information just now, and I feel pretty comfortable with this. We did have this was on consent, but I wanted to honor Councilmember Muckler's move to general business. And to me, I look at this as it's a little more, art than science, and that there's data points, and then there's location and distance and things like that. So it's maybe not as clearly black and white. Even just distance, how long is it? Because they have to match up all those lengths when they look at that. I don't know if I just feel like I'm tap dancing here to see if we can get Anna back into the meeting. Well, I see a phone number there. Let's see. Do we know if this is? I'm gonna try to I'm gonna take a little.
Yes, it is.
It's Anna.
Yes.
Councilmember Mockler, is that you? You have to unmute on the phone, which I don't. Hey.
I am unmuted. This is fun.
So we'll make do. So you've got the floor.
Since I have no idea what I'm responding to, could someone bring me up to speed. I have not been able to see anything for quite a while now.
All right. Well,
From the moment that Shane Rebelowski attempted to give public recognition, I haven't heard a thing.
So, I mean, there wasn't really any new information presented. I think it was just maybe presented a little more thoroughly. So I, do you have a specific question? I will say again, keep in mind that our goal here tonight, our job is to approve or disapprove this contract. And we're getting a little bit into the weeds if we start talking about the scope that was decided many months ago. But I think to summarize, Mr. Carter just told us that they use sort of all the data they have available from surveys and from visuals, and even if there's all the data they have, and they also look to piece things together. We were just saying how even length of roadway needing to be done goes in as a factor because they have to piece all these pieces together. So without asking Mr. Carter to give us the presentation again, do you have a specific question you'd like to ask?
Yeah, during the Public Works Committee meeting yesterday, this topic was presented at some length, and it was my understanding that Mr. Shane Weber was going to review this and Mr. Ned Lever was going to work with him on it. So it's really hard to tell from something that I haven't heard, but it sounds to me as though Mr. Carter has given the explanation that was given before, and my question remains the same, which is I have a difficult time explaining to my constituents why pavement that is listed as being in very good condition that abuts the waterfront is being chip sealed, while other areas that are in good condition and could use the chip seal and are through streets, why are cul-de-sacs on waterfronts being done when their pavement is listed as very good, while other areas that receive more traffic are not being done? So that's my question. I'm not expecting, and let me just say this once more, I am not expecting chip seal to perform a miracle on East Finney Ridge or on Callow from 15th to 24th. I understand that those roads are in such poor condition that they need more substantial service. But I am trying to understand this, and so far I haven't heard anything that makes it possible for me to tell my constituents why these streets were selected.
All right.
I'm specifically speaking about Rainier from 19th to 20th, Taft from 19th to 20th, and then I think 20th is in slightly better condition. If I had my computer, I could give you more. This is all from memory.
All right. So I'll turn to staff to see if they can offer any input on that. It is unlikely that anything would change because the request for proposal and the contract, we're already at that stage. But does staff have any insight on that they could offer?
I'm not sure if Tom wants to step in here or if he wants me to finish answering this.
I love answering questions. So
I thought so.
Yeah. So I talked to Shane. So the scope was developed by two people that were with the engineering division, over a year ago. Neither of those people are here anymore. Shane went through all of the projects after the meeting yesterday and the questions that came up. He went through all the projects, all of the street segments that are included in this first year of the contract, and confirmed that all of those are candidates for chip seal. We have a 5-year list that was developed again by people that aren't here anymore, and he hasn't had a chance to go back through those and vet those, but he will. And he will do that before as a matter of course, in putting together the work plan for all the subsequent years under this contract. And I guess I just wanted to reiterate what was said earlier, is that the way that the scope is developed is initially engineering uses the data from the 2018 pavement study that was developed by IMS to identify candidate streets. Then they send engineering stuff out to review the streets. And then they coordinate between the engineering staff and the operations staff in order to determine what streets are, to be included. And so this very specific questions that you're asking about streets with cul-de-sacs, I can't answer that. What I can tell you is that every street that's included in this first year of chip seal is a valid candidate for chip seal. And this is a multi-year contract. There are a lot of priority streets, and we're going to get to them. So that's really all I have to say about that.
All right, thank you.
Well, can I make 2 comments, President Goodnow?
Yes.
Great. Number 1, every now and then fate just slaps you across the face and says, Anna, you're just going to lose on this one. Okay, so I'm done with that. But I would like to make 2 requests, one of which is that when we are approving contracts that we get to see the scope of work with maps like this earlier. And the other is that we really seriously consider getting back the maintenance crew that we have that would be able to take some of these poor and marginal streets and really tackle them, because otherwise year after year goes by and we don't have anything to do. We don't have anything that we can do about them. Public Works used to have these FTEs, and so I'm just making a pitch, for us to consider getting them back.
All right.
All done.
Thank you. All right. I thought I had the final thought, but yeah, so actually, I just want to make sure we're being careful not to micromanage the workload. We've got lots of engineers and experts that are putting this together for us. So I would like to ask the Public Works Committee just to maybe review the process on these things. I'm not trying to reinvent it. And quite frankly, there's a level of detail that I don't think that we necessarily need at the council level, but we certainly want to be able to answer or defend a decision that the city has made for residents. So if Public Works could sort of maybe review that. Again, we've got a lot of new folks here also. So, all right. With no further discussion, I call for the question.
Councilmember Fry.
Yes.
Thank you. Coughlin.
Yes.
Mockler.
Grr. Yes.
Younger.
Yes.
Chamberlain.
Yes.
Goodnow.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously. This concludes general business.
Thank you. Next up is council reports. Since this is the last council meeting of the month, we will start with District 7 Council Member Eric Younger.
Thank you. No report.
Up next is District 6 Council Member Anna Mockler.
Okay. I actually had a much more coherent council report, but last Saturday was a tour of urban farms. So I visited all of them in my district. And at the next general meeting, I will show you photographs of the gardens. But it was really a pleasure to see so many people really working on feeding themselves. And it was an even deeper pleasure to see how many people were looking out, we're saying this bed's for the food bank, this other bed's, this whole tree, it's for the food bank. So that made me very, very proud to be a part of Bremerton. Yeah, I can't really think of much else that I can say into a phone except thanks. I'd like to thank Public Works for the tour they gave us and for the extra time they put in on this. And yeah, that's pretty much my entire report. Thank you. Way under 5 minutes.
Almost under a minute. Thank you. Next, District 3 Council Member Jeff Coughlin.
All right, I'll make up for it. Oh goodness. Yeah, I'll respond to some public comments just real quick off the bat, and then I got a few slides. I just wanted to say I love that for Mr. Volaski's comments that we have a retired public works professional in the city who's so active and speaking up with suggestions and their experience. And I love we have a public works department that is actively listening and working with that citizen. And I think it's great. So I'll just leave that there. For comments on the Mlk area, thanks again, folks, for speaking up. It's in my district. I walk by tonight as I do several times a week. Thanks for speaking up on it. Again, I think we talked about that one, and the mayor's heard your concerns, and we'll take all the suggestions under consideration. So thank you again. For the comment on the budget surplus by Michael, I believe it was Aki. If you go to bremertonwa.gov/408/financial-reports, probably just Google Bremerton Financial Reports. There is a nice public website that lists the city budget, annual reports, and monthly reports, so you can see all the cities. Everything's public. So hopefully that helps. And then as far as my slides go, I think first slide, if it pops up here, is just about some of the downtown bike lanes. I just wanted to give a quick kudos to Public Works. And it should be coming up now. There we go. So as I mentioned before and talked about, there's some great multimodal improvements going in all throughout the city, including these bike lanes here. And the recent addition were these plastic bollards you can see along the side. So to be clear, in this area, I don't think there's ever been public parking along it. You can see the big no parking sign there. So the bike lanes went in, which is fantastic, but people were still parking in that area or blocking that right away into the turnaround there. So Public Works responded, I believe, to some citizen suggestions and put in these plastic bollards, which unless the driver is really darn determined, should prevent anybody from parking there and blocking access, as well as enhancing the bicycle safety. So again, giant kudos to Public Works for working on that. Next slide, I wanted to thank the Bremerton Police Department. As some of you know, I volunteer for the Kitsap History Museum downtown. One thing I do is manage the facility. And the other Friday, after First Friday, I got a call from our alarm company close to 10 o'clock that there was somebody in the building who shouldn't be there since we locked up around 8. Ultimately, at the end, it was somebody who kind of hid out at closing, and I think it was somebody just in dire need of some mental health or substance abuse treatment. I don't think they had any ill intent, thank goodness. But again, kudos to the BPD. They responded quickly. They showed up. They were extremely professional. They cleared the building just in case additional people were in there. I called to make sure staff were okay. It was scary for a moment, but it's never a good day when you have to interact with the police, for no matter who's doing it. But that day I had the interaction, and I just want to give a shout out to the BPD for what I thought was a job well done. So thank you all. And then finally, overlapping with Mayor Wheeler, I also wanted to highlight the wayfinding. It's of course all throughout the city, but obviously downtown and Manette will be some focus areas for sure. So as the mayor said, the city soliciting input. This was a public map drawing up. I know the committee and the folks are working hard to make sure every possible destination is included for consideration. And if we go to the next and final slide, I just think it's an excellent survey that's been put together. I took it myself. I hope everybody contributes to it, and you give input on everything from what kind of things in general you think are most important to have on the signs to the general design that reflects Bremerton, and if the signs have the right information. If you're somebody in the community looking to find a local park, or a tourist getting off that ferry boat and wondering what great small businesses and cultural institutions we have. So again, thanks to the city employees for their hard work on this. And that is it for me.
All right, thank you. Um, Up next, District 2 Councilmember Denise Fry.
Yes, kudos definitely to Public Works. I've loved driving around town and seeing all the new bike lanes and the bright green, and it just really feels like we've arrived, you know, as far as multimodal. I know there's a lot of work left to be done, but kudos. I know it's been a long process with a lot of advocacy, you know, from the community, and I think Public Works has done a great job under, of course, the mayor's leadership. So I want to second those kudos. I had written, I wanted to let the public know that I had written to all of our department heads stating that I wanted to have a district meeting, and we included, you know, maybe we could combine some districts. And what it's kind of boiled down to, because we want it to work for staff as well as for the community, is that there's a couple of public works projects that are happening in districts 2 and 3. And that is the 11th and Perry work that's being done in Manette, and of course the Safe Routes to School work coming up near Sylvan with View Ridge Elementary School. So we're going to focus on that at this meeting. It's going to be September 15th, although I need to talk to President Goodnow and Councilmember Coughlin. I didn't even really think we aren't meeting really in public until October. So maybe we can talk about this at study session about this date that we're moving into hybrid. I think a lot of us are antsy to get back in touch personally with our public. And I think the mayor has encouraged us. I think I have heard Mayor Wheeler encourage us, and I certainly would be very willing to do that, especially if it's going to prevent us from having this joint district meeting. So anyway, more news on that. And I just want to say, I really feel that staff has been progressive. Again, listening to council, coming back with answers. And I loved it when, you know, in a pretty short period of time, we've now, you know, Shane Weber is now taking a look at you know, that list, and making sure that it's valid still, and for the chip and seal. And I just love that when staff is so responsive, not just in word, but in action. So thank you to staff for all the hard work, and I'll sign off.
Thank you. Next is from District 1, Vice President Jennifer Chamberlain.
Thank you, President Goodnow. I wanted to throw a quick shout out to Public Works and to our Parks Department. We have a new, we've had some accessibility upgrades at our tennis courts recently. So now we have accessible sidewalks, gates, and we even have accessible parking so that folks can, who have those accessibility needs, can get to the courts easier. Before, they used to have to trudge up the hill and go across the lawn, but thanks to a community development block grant, our courts are more accessible. So more to be revealed on the pickleball courts expansion happening. Apparently it is a pretty hot and happening sport out there. Maybe I need to go reacquaint myself with it. And then I hope you'll indulge me for a minute. I'm going to try to tell you a quick story of how I started working at Salvation Army doing volunteer work back in 2018. There was a bed bug outbreak. I don't know if anybody remembers that. People who lived here know about it. And I saw an article, and I just showed up and said, put me to work. At the time, our mayor had authorized a tent city, you know, and asked that that police, rather than enforce, you know, ordinances regarding camping and encampment, that they look out for the folks and allow folks to sleep outside and to be cared for around the area of Salvation Army. My friend Michelle Fleetwood who I was an AmeriCorps alumni with. I was there, and we just got to work just like we did when we were in AmeriCorps, you know. And I started volunteering at Salvation Army after that for a few years, doing winter shelter work. And I just, you know, I know it's hard to see the struggles that our houseless folks are going through. I just, and I want you to know that that I'm a skeptic. I'm a skeptic, y'all, about government and about the inner workings of our government. But I want you to know, I mean, we do have compassionate people that are trying to find the best solutions for these folks. We're trying to work on solutions too. There are barriers, but I just want to assure you that I've seen the compassion and that I know that it's there. I just traveled, you know, basically across the country from here to Arizona and back by car. And the issues that we have in Bremerton are not in a vacuum. There's a homeless crisis across our nation, an affordable housing crisis. There's a lot of issues going on that are not specific to Bremerton. And I'm excited to be part of finding a solution to those. I just want to assure folks that we do have compassionate people on council and administration who are just working their hardest to try to find ethical and just solutions. So anyway, that's all. Thank you for indulging me on that.
Thank you. All right. Actually, I just want to say that I volunteered this past weekend, as did Councilmember Coughlin, at the Kitsap Wine Festival, which is an event that the Columbia Hospitality, who's the operator of our conference center, puts on. And it was a beautiful day. I saw the mayor and his wife Sunny at the event, and lots of other community folks. But it's you know, it's really just nice to show off our properties and things like that. So the fountain park looked great, and you know, it was just a great day to spend in the park. And so I just want to, you know, thank all the park staff that work hard to make all that happen. Also, I was just asked to make an announcement. I think I should have one slide, which I'm going to pretty much have to read from. So this is from the Bremerton School District. They're inviting the community out for an update on the multi-use sports complex for Mountain View Middle School. They're inviting folks out to learn how the design is developing since the approved levy concept. So that's going to be on Wednesday, August 24th at 5:30 p.m. We'll be here at the Mountain View Middle School Commons, and it'll be available on Zoom. So you can learn more at bremertonschools.org. And that's all I have from our report. We do have an executive session, so council members will be in executive session for 20 minutes to evaluate the qualifications and compensation of an applicant seeking public employment as allowed under RCW 4231.10(1)G, and action is anticipated. So I will now meet my council members in the other meeting, and we'll be back.
All right, so you're hearing it there. They are going to break for about 20 minutes for a special session and come back. There is, what do they call it? Action expected, which means that they're going to vote whether or not, probably to hire the person or not. Again, I want to share with you, it is direly important that you advocate for those that don't have a voice, or for those who feel like they may be retaliated against for their voice. These are the minimal things that I believe that we can do to improve the lives of our fellow neighbors, our community members. Right? We are honestly all in this together. And that seems like hyperbole because we're not experiencing what they're experiencing. But I do believe that we have a responsibility to try to do what we can to make the change that we definitely want to see. We don't want to see any of our loved ones in this situation or scenario, and there just has to be a way forward. When I was talking earlier with Matt and Katie from Bremerton Housing and KCR, respectively, that's just it, right? There's all these organizations doing all this great work, and it just seems like we're losing the battle here. And so, what is the wish list? What would be the magic wand in reality that we can do to really start undoing these things and stop treating the symptoms? I know it's hot right now. We can't even, what does it say, 83 degrees? We can't even think about the rain, the cold, the snow, the sub-freezing temperatures. But they're coming. They're coming. They're coming quickly. You say, well, what's worse? The ice cold or the burning hot? When you can't even stand or sit in the shade, nothing you can do, right? You can't cool off enough. In the wintertime, you can't get warm enough. When it's raining, you can't get dry enough. And I don't know about you, but as soon as it hits like 68 degrees, I'm ready to put on a light coat, right? Let alone let me slow down and sleep outside. It's miserable. It's inhumane. And I really feel like we're all responsible for that. And so we got to do something about it. And that's what we're doing. So shout out to all the people that spoke up today and made their public comments. As you can see, Councilwoman Chamberlain, told another story, which I think is important, right? It's important to have folks like that in these positions because they have empathy, they have sympathy, they've experienced some of these things firsthand, and they can articulate it and share it with their fellow council people. And hopefully they're receptive to that and they're saying, okay, I didn't know. It's like with Mayor Wheeler, right? He is doing what he can. He sends a directive, okay, send someone down once a day or so and clean up the trash. But if you're only cleaning the trash up on public property, which is across the street, but all the trash is on the other side of the street, and it's like, well, that's private property. We can't go over there. It's like, you know what I mean? Like there's a disconnect there. And it really is just coming together and having a conversation, right? And I get that they are tremendously busy. And there's so much more than just, the square city block of MLK. A lot of fish to fry, so to speak. But this is a big one. This is a priority. And it seems as though, we would need to address these things first before we address all the niceties and the luxuries that others of us experience. I'm not saying that those things aren't important, because they are. But we do need to address those things, and we need to do something different because what's happening isn't working. I was sharing earlier, it's one of the reasons now that we're going to start broadcasting the Olympic College Board meetings. See, all of these things go together. So I'm going to go to college and get a certificate or a degree. I'll increase my earning power so that I can pay the rent. Hopefully, only 30% of my income will go to pay toward the rent and not 50 or 60 or 70 or 80 or more. And I'm not living check to check. That one illness, one accident, one sick child causes me to get evicted. We have to look at things in a different way, but we have to look at it holistically. And everyone needs to be at the table. And it's a different way of thinking. It's a paradigm shift. And we have it in us. We can do it. We must do it. And sadly, there are folks that were housed today that will be homeless tomorrow. And so we're trying to stave that off too. So super important. You know, as time goes on, we'll advocate for other things. You know, I have lots of interests that are important to me. This is one that is seminal at this point in time. And so this has our full attention. And so we're trying to rally folks and do what we can and leverage our knowledge, skills, and abilities and bring that to bear to the conversation. As Mark was saying, your puzzle piece, that's what it is, right? So what you're seeing is my puzzle piece. What is yours? What is yours? We need you. They need you. We need each other. Community. We can do it. So I do appreciate everyone tuning in. Again, tomorrow a.m., we have Anthony Ives, Executive Director of Kitsap Community Resources, here to talk about the community needs assessment and some other good things too. You won't want to miss that. I've got a lot of great events coming up that you will see. Don't forget on August 27th, Doc Loves the Kids has his backpack event for kids. You don't want to miss that. There's plenty of advertising out there. I will push that out as it gets closer to time. But do that. Surviving Change and Deborah Jackson has their holiday kids program going on. I put that information out there. So go ahead and govern yourselves accordingly. Get your kids on the list. It's important. New Day Ministries has moved into a new building. They'll have their ribbon cutting also on the 27th. So you'll see us there. Lots of good people doing a lot of good work, and they need support. And we can do that. We're ready for it. We stand ready. As I said, our pancake breakfast will be next Wednesday, and you're always welcome to join us in person. Pancake, sausage, hash browns, coffee, juice, conversation, fellowship. Always a lot of fun. Get out of your office. Take a break. Come fellowship. Come catch up. Come meet someone new. And then we'll have our neighborhood barbecue that weekend after that out in Port Orchard. And then next month, we'll have our town hall centered around homelessness that fourth Wednesday. So we got a lot coming up, a lot going on. Definitely look forward to you being there with us for sure. All right. Sounds like everything is good there. Oh, man. So many cool things. So many cool things. So many awesome people in Kitsap County. So many awesome people in Kitsap County. That is a fact. I believe that. Do you believe it? I do. I do. All right. We've got some other programming that's going on. So stay tuned for that. Oh, that looks a little, Layla might like that one. I don't know. Let's try a different one. Yeah, maybe I can deal with that. Maybe I can deal with that. I guess I should put this on till we come back. Ooh, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. Go ahead and turn that back on so it's ready.
17-year-old. Haven't had much experiences.
Yeah, it's actually it's better to try. Because if you put it all together, it's mushy.
No worries, there's still challenges for you. Tell us something that you've been reading or learning or new thing that you've learned this summer. There's a little activity page in our booklet. Tell us how it went. Drop it off at your local branch.
That's our representative policy.
All right, sounds like they're coming back online.
We're back early, and it looks like we're still recording.
So the actual time to return is 6:49.
So we've got about 7 minutes. So take a quick break if you'd like.
I feel less bad about my left turn now.
impact studies that actually matter and meet the needs, but also that people are participating because it makes sense to them, right? And so this is really the big vision.
it's over the phone line and not a particular account to be tied to. Yep.
All right. It was we were able to do it in the executive session, but that was a different
correct
framework that we were using.
Yeah, it's not a webinar. Yep.
Yeah. So we'll just we will permit Anna to talk, and Anna, you're muted. I can unmute you probably easier than you can. Maybe not. Okay, you're good. Anna,
Okay.
we can hear you. All
Can
right.
you hear me?
Yeah. So we'll just be having the vote, so it won't be too. Oh, it's interesting. You show up in the main panel now, but I couldn't promote you per se. So
It's a mystery.
all right, we've got just under 2 minutes. All right, less than a minute left.
Are we in public right now?
We are.
Okay. Very odd this. I feel like at any moment typewriters are going to appear in my library with carbons.
Yeah. Well, at least if you need to get it fixed, we've got a good typewriter repair guy in town.
Very
He's the best.
Jeff, are you chair of Public Works?
No, Eric is, and Anna's vice chair.
It is 6:49.
All right, we call our meeting back to order, and I will turn to Councilmember Coughlin for a motion.
All right, I move to authorize the hire of the engineering project manager, transportation candidate at band 16, rate 4 of the 2022 management, professional, confidential, and fiduciary salary plan.
And do we have a second?
I second.
We have a second from Anna Mockler. All right, we have a motion and a second. I call for the question.
Councilmember Coughlin,
Yes.
Mockler,
Yes.
Younger,
Yes.
Chamberlain,
Yes.
Fry,
Yes.
Goodnow.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
All right, thank you. The meetings will continue to be held remotely, including the next study session on Wednesday, August 24th at 5 p.m. This concludes tonight's regular council business. The meeting is adjourned. Good evening.
Good night, everybody.
Not all.
Thank you.
Good night.
All right, so that was the meeting, the city council meeting for this Wednesday, August 17, 2022. Thank you so much for joining us. As you know, we will review this meeting on the Civic Second, as you can see up there in the corner, at 10 a.m. on Sunday morning. So again, subscribe, like, and share so you never miss out on one of our shows. Make sure you hit the bell so you'll be notified every time we go live. Again, youtube.com/C/C, The Conduit. I am Marwan Cameron. I'm your host. This is The Conduit. Stay cool. Stay hydrated, folks. All right now.
Yeah, so raise your rate.
point in time count outreach side, and that's a lot of what I've done and other folks is we go to different encampments throughout Kitsap County, and we actually survey folks. And folks don't have to give us their name or anything if they don't want to participate, but we at least still count.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of this. Like, this is going on. Looking at the vouchers. We're purchasing this property. Oh, we got a class. You know, like this constantly just new stuff coming. I can see it. It's high energy. And, you know, oh, here's this deep entry. You know, yeah, it's just fantastic.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Time goes by so fast and so much happens. It's sort of hard to think about what's happened in the last month about that program. And I'm glad I heard that you guys got to share while I was on vacation. You got to share at the state.
Today is Mark Boatwright's birthday.
All right, this is evolving into something else. Enjoy your weekend. See you on
Under your leadership, we have created a trusted voice with a trusted space.
Thanks, Marwan. I really appreciate the platform and the opportunity to talk to the public in a way that maybe I wouldn't be able to do otherwise. I think your commitment to having these sort of ongoing conversations about housing and homelessness issues is really